Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. We're going to talk about something that is really today at the core of branding. And I believe that it's the future of branding. It is something that, for instance, par exemple, si je vous fais cette présentation en français, je ne suis pas sûr que tout le monde comprenne. O quizás podemos hacerlo en español. Hay mucha gente aquí que habla en español, ¿sí? O forse lo facciamo in italiano. אבל אני לא בטוח שיש הרבה אנשים מדברים עברית. Music and sound need no translation. Somebody previously asked this question. He said, I believe that it was not a question, it was a comment. He said, I believe that we should not forget that there is an emotional value to branding. We're going to talk about this also. We're going to talk about something that I've worked for almost 400 brands around the world in all activities. You know, every day there is almost 2 billion people hearing at least one sound that CCM has produced. I can tell you something. We are first going to talk about something that can bring a competitive edge. I take a small example. Of course, listening to sound and music is fun, but it takes time, and we don't have so much time. So it's a kind of intro I'm doing this morning. Some years ago, Renault, the automotive brand, used to have a sound approach. They used this thing. Maybe you remember this, but I guess you don't. They used it something like 10 years. It was everywhere in their communication touchpoints. It was on TV, on the radio, through the event, on their website, in their brand content. And Renault did a lot of survey on this. And the more they used it, the more it was confusing. Strange. The more they use it, the less was there an attribution. Why? Because everybody was doing the same thing. What is the brand saying with that sound? Finally, it says we are selling metal, or automotive is about metal. Then 3 years after, we changed that. And maybe you've heard this. This little sound was developed into a longer version that goes into the whole system of Renault. And Renault, with IFOP, made a small research. 8 years ago, Renault was like between, according to the criteria, between 6 and 9. Today, whatever the question, Renault is number 1. But if I go back to your kind of pyramid, Frédéric, whatever we see in the survey shows that Renault, from a rational point of view and from an emotional point of view, is the brand that shares more now with sound and music. Okay, we're talking about competitive edge, but not only. We're talking about something that helps win this battle that is very complicated, the battle for attention. You know, sound has a very specific ability. It can take your attention at a moment yet you don't have any more attention. For example, if you're in a bar, a lot of noise, a lot of people talking, and a glass breaks on the ground. Everybody will stop talking and want to see what's happening. Sound has this ability to grab your attention. But what's the interest from branding? Let me give you an example. It's a very recent one, but I was not exactly allowed to give you the name of the brand, so it's not there, I hope. A brand came to us saying, okay, we put a lot of money in a TVC, and this TVC was also used on YouTube, and we have a problem. You know, 5 years ago, we believed that on YouTube, we were looking for audience. Today, we know we don't care about audience. We care about watch time. Because if you have 1 billion people watching your video, but only 1 second, there's no point. They came to us and we say, okay, we understand. You have a very nice music, but this music, really beautiful, that makes a beautiful movie, really, really do not grab attention and does not keep the attention. So we reproduce the same music, but we structure it in a very different way. The pink thing is all the audience we gain. It is about 40%. When you put a lot of money, having 40% more attention means something. The third thing that for me is absolutely key is the word, maybe the word confidence is interesting, maybe the word trust. There is no business without trust. And one of the key problems that brands have today is defiance. This guy is a sociologist, and almost 10 years ago he told me we're heading toward paranoiac society. He told me something that we live now absolutely, and it's absolutely right. People don't believe authority. Political authority, economic authority. The bigger you have, the more you speak, the more defiant I am. If you tell me you're beautiful, it is because you're not. If you tell me, trust me, it's because I should not trust you. And Perron really said something that, for me, means a lot for music and sound. He says, say something, but use an unexplicit vocabulary. Yes, because if I'm beautiful, I don't need to say this. If I do everything for people to trust me, I should not say, trust me. And what is very interesting, on Renault, the belief in the brand, the belief that their brand attribute were right, now is much, much stronger. Think about it. It's just the way we dress. The way we dress is not only something to say, okay, I like this. The way I dress is also a message to you. It's a message to me and a message to you. This is exactly what we're talking about with sound. And why it is becoming more important now. We are heading toward a screenless world. Why a screenless world? You know, for example, tomorrow, the way you drive your car will be very much audio. The interaction with the voice is going to be something very important. So, what does it take to succeed in this audio branding field? The first thing is you have to think that it's not about the brand itself, it is about the brand and the brand relationship with people. That's why when we're talking about a revolution, it's a revolution because you don't have to think about music, you have to think about a system. Branding is a system. At the core of the system, you have to build your own vocabulary. What does it mean? You know, if I go back to what a visual identity is, for instance, it's not a nice drawing. You have shapes, you have colors, you have types. All these very small elements are shaping your own vocabulary. So build your own sound texture and use it along a system. Of course, what people are going through at the end of an advertising is not what you want them to go through when they are calling you. You cannot imagine how impactful is an on-hold message on people's understanding of your brand. It's very surprising. For instance, what should be the role of a sound on a radio message? You know, so many people think about music for communication as part of the attribution thing, but attribution is very basic. What is the fight there? The fight is that people that are hearing the radio are not listening to advertising. They're just hearing. And maybe they're in their cars. They have things in mind. They may be talking with their neighbors. The first role of sound at this very specific moment is to grab your attention. And to grab your attention in a view to, for example, differentiating from all the other messages, is to sow some seeds about who you are. Because maybe they're not so much focusing on your verbal message, but there's a state of mind behind that. Today, sound is absolutely everywhere in a brand communication. So what are you going to do with it? How do you make it something that helps identification, differentiation, understanding? It is because you build a system that is going to be strong in terms of coherence and consistency. You know, like you again, your brand is going through very different experiences. It cannot be the same. If you repeat yourself, you're going to be boring and nobody will pay attention. You said a lot the word fun, enjoyment. Sound can be fun and enjoyment as long as you surprise people. So building a system like this is also another opportunity to engage with people. Yes, this is a lot about music. It's also about sound. The future of brand will be very much about notifications. And notification is a question for sound. But there's something else. Music, sound, I'm very happy to talk about that.
I am very happy to talk about sound with you. And there is a key topic that goes with it. Now I want to talk about voices. So exciting.
Frankly, so exciting. This is what most of the brands working on vocal assistant are doing. They take a typical white female voice with no intention particular, and they expect that to do the job properly. Now this everybody knows what I mean, but this is what is happening now. You know, we discovered something with neuroscience that is very interesting. I don't know if you know what prosody means. Prosody is the fact that you produce sound with your voice. And it's been years that we believe that prosody is a functional thing. It's about rational. I'm saying a word like bonjour, hello, and it means bonjour, hello. And now we know that it's not the case. It's not working like this in our brain. How does it work? The first thing that we see is that when I'm saying bonjour, you're trying to figure out what is my state of mind. Of course, from a functional point of view, you understand that I'm saying hello to you. But from an emotional point of view, the first thing that you are decoding is my state of mind. What is my intention? There are so many ways of saying bonjour. I can say bonjour, which is not exactly the bonjour. When you are talking to somebody and when your brand is talking, people figure out, consciously or not, your state of mind. Go to Alexa and try to figure out the state of mind of Alexa. You know, we're talking yesterday about the survey and research that exists in the UK. 40% of the people that are interacting with Alexa are not comfortable with Alexa because they believe that Alexa is looking down on them. Because you ask a question and Alexa has the answer. And the way she answers is, but Alexa is a machine? No, it's not a machine. You know, half people are saying thank you to Siri. I'm sure each of us already said, thank you, Siri. What does it mean? It means that whatever you want, there's a rational, functional, and an emotional engagement with sound. So what are we going to do with it? So I go back to this comment this morning, because I think in the field of energy, music has an amazing role to play. You know, among the 400 brands I'm working for, I see more and more people from the energy world. Why? Because they realize they have to build their own emotional patrimony, emotional vocabulary. How do you make this? You know what is funny in your category is that there used to be a kind of global audio vocabulary for energy. And I'm not sure it's the good one. It was like, frankly. You know, when we're talking Gazprom, look at the TVC by Gazprom. You pay like 200 musicians, it's full of strength, it's the power like nobody wants now. A power so powerful that you don't exist as a customer. A power so powerful that it's very, very far from their everyday life. A real caricature. But still today, I have to say that a lot of brands are using this very classical and powerful thing. Really, is energy about being powerful? Some brands have understood a little bit of this. They say, no, it's not enough modern, it's not cool enough. You know, I remember that there was a very strong communication by Areva some years ago, and they were using Funky Town. You remember this? And also a lot of brands are using some rock and roll sound that says, oh, energy is cool and you're gonna live your dreams. Cool, you know, like... That's the energy, no? It's not working. Then again, you know, life is not like this. Life is not, yeah, I'm going to work. Ooh, that's so cool. I have money problem. Ooh, that's so cool. Energy, I'm wasting a lot of, ooh, that's so cool. No, it's not like this. Yesterday I was supposed to stop here, but when I heard the presentation by Angie, I said, I think this briefing, this branding presentation could be a very good brief for music. You know, when the person talked about harmonious action, simplicity, the scale, not the global scale, but everybody's scale, working for everybody. I said, if I were to produce something, maybe I would produce like 10 seconds, but something like this.
When did we forget all the crazy things that made us feel so part of it? Our youth, so confident, we played our heartstrings, not caring if it ends.
There's a kind of power there, but it's not the power of being powerful. It's maybe the idea of empowering. What I also like is, you know, I was working on a music of a Spanish brand lately, and the music was really telling to people, it's not about you. This kind of music can be you. You can be singing this. And there's an energy behind this, but it's not an amazing energy that is not existing. What I want to tell you through this example is that you have to build your own vocabulary because it is your state of mind. The way you approach your business and the way you approach the relationship with people. So I just want you to keep in mind something. We are here in a branding conference. If we are here in a branding conference, it means that we believe that brand is business. Nobody has time for something that is not about business. It is also, and I believe that we had very nice comments that should make it clear that we also believe that the right branding helps business success. So what I wanted to tell you this morning in this small introduction about audio branding is that all the research we've done, everything shows that the right audio branding amplifies success. And I really mean it. You know, for example, I have composed the Samsung Global Audio Identity that was in 1.5 billion phone. And it was amazing to see the results. First, how it was building a competitive edge compared to their competitors. But most of all, how proud people having this sound and how proud the employee had to have this anthem. So that's it. I wanted to keep some time if you have a question. And I hope it was clear, and I hope you're going to be the champion of audio branding. Champion is a very interesting word in there, and I think it is now if you want to make it in audio. So, as we say in France, be the champions.
We are the champions, my friend.
Thank you.
And we'll keep on fighting.
Frederick, is it okay that I kept 5 minutes for questions? Yeah? More? Okay. So if you have no question for me, whether it was not clear at all. Yeah? So that's very, very easy. I don't care about being good or not. I have clear criteria. To what extent the music of your TVC helps building identification, differentiation, understanding of your values. This is how we evaluate. By the way, do you know how many people that are watching TV are watching TV? Do you know how many people with the TV on are not watching TV? It's almost now the same figure in Europe and in the US. 46 people. What does it mean? It means that if you're paying for TV campaign, think about all the people that will hear without watching. So for example, one of the criteria we're working on is what happens if people are not watching TV? Will this sound bring their attention back to the screen and back to the brand? For example, we are doing Neurotest now on one campaign, and we see to it that if somebody does not enter at the beginning of the TVC, they still can understand the TVC, keep in mind the name of the brand. And if it's okay with this, then we go, can you tell me a little bit about this brand? This is what we did for Renault. What is the right sound? For example, the Renault talks about passion for life. Do you think that the sound of the metal rhythm was about passion for life? We tested. Absolutely not. They were talking about cars. Renault is not about cars. It is about a vision of mobility. So this is how we proceed in terms of research. So the good sound is a sound that builds competitive edge, creates value from a functional point of view and from an emotional point of view. I think we're done with this. Oh, sorry. As I have.
Oh no, I was just thinking, I'll shout loudly. How does the growth in kind of automated assistants and voice search and everything influence how you would look at a kind of an audio identity for a brand?
Okay. So the question is about how sound can contribute to the success of vocal assistant. Can I reform it like this? Okay, there's a big problem now. So, vocal assistant, if you go through Google or if you go through Amazon, to a certain extent, these vocal things are going to be like big molds. And you're going to have a shop into these molds. The problem is that today, you're not really allowed to have your name on it. Because when you interact with Alexa, most of the time it's going to be with the voice of Alexa. So there is a creative audio approach, but if you want to succeed in vocal assistant, you have to think broader than the vocal assistant. For instance, if you have your own musical and audio vocabulary, you have to infuse it in all of your touch points, not only in the vocal assistant. So once you are being on with the vocal assistant, when you are using sound, this little sound that might be less than 1 second, and for example, on Renault we have this, will resonate because it will remind people from sound that they heard from you from other touch points. And then you will build your coherence with this. So for instance, when you have a question, you might create your own validating sound. Just see to it that this sound is not just saying it's validated. See to it that it's saying Eon is validating it. See to it that it comes as a continuity to what you do in all the other touch points. Think also about the fact that currently we are working on 12 vocal identity. What does it mean to work on a vocal identity? It does not mean only trying to find the good voice, not only the good voice texture, but the good voice intention. You know, with my voice, I repeat myself. I can talk to you like this, or I can talk to you like this. And it's not the same intention. And if it's not clear enough, I can go on. But then again, if we go back to Alexa, you know something that is not nice with Alexa? Alexa has no hesitation. Humans have hesitation. So for example, work on what I call the vocal accident. You know, it's nice sometimes to have to have people hesitating, to have like vocal accident. It gives humanity. Give humanity to the voice. Give humanity to the brand. Forget about the standard thing. Because if you build your own audio vocabulary through standards, it's just going to be like everybody. You will be boring. You will not be differentiating. You will not be winning this very hard competition that we have ahead. I hope my answer was clear.
I can ask you another question.
It's going to be the last because it starts to...
It's a tough question maybe. I'm just because that's excuse me, making sound. Because brands are built with rationality and emotions. Is there any way that you can give us one sound for emotions and one sound for rationality? And from your own vocal cords?
Okay, I just want to tell you that emotion does not exist. There are plenty of emotions. I'll give another example. We've been working for an American transportation company, and they were very happy with the campaign and the brand content. And they made tests, and they said this is very emotional. And they say there's something we would like you to help on, is that we want you to make our brand very positive, very happy, so people are being engaged. I say I won't. I say what? You know why your movie is so emotional? Because your movie is very sad. It was the story of a little girl that lost her father and is going to go back and see her mother. I can be emotional telling you how my father almost died last year. The question is not about being emotional. The question is having the right emotion. And there are two emotions that brand should be particularly working on. This idea of enjoyment and fun and happiness, yeah. But the one that is most contributive to branding is the emotion of surprise. So for example, do you know what is most contributive to your TVC being seen on TV? Silence. If you have a nice music from the very beginning to the very ending of your TVC, you're on a railroad. So if I don't get the emotion at the beginning, if I don't get my attention at the beginning, so introduce a small silence in it. And we did that last year. We are in charge of Michelin, global sound, whatever it is, advertising, TV, whatever. And we tested. And this very silence, it was very funny because we filmed people in a house. Well, you used to have noise. Everybody looked at the TV. It was a 1 second, and I have to say that's a fight. It was a kind of fight, but it was a funny fight with the advertising agency to have a 1 second silence. This incident, this accident brings attention, and then we worked on this positive emotion that we wanted to have. So the sound of emotion does not exist. Depends on what kind of, it's just like, tell me a good positioning. There's no good positioning. Depends on who you are and who you're talking to. As from the function, you know, functional sound is everywhere. The first functional sound that you know is the sound of your heart or the heart of your mother. You know, that's the first sensorial experience that you have when you're there, before you were born. You get to learn music there. You get to learn what is a rhythm and how to interpret frequencies. So this is the sound, a heart beating that is purely functional, because if it stops beating, there's a clear functional information that you should pay attention to. Thank you.